Well, we're real proud of the way that we've set up our new office as far as patient flow. I don't believe that we should have a large waiting room because we really don't want you to wait very long. So hopefully as soon as you get here and get signed in, we get you out of the waiting room into an exam room or a consult room. But this is very indicative of our new color scheme for our new office. Love the logo over the sofa, the love seat. But this is where you would come, and our front door is just a few steps away from the parking lot. The outer door is like 3 steps that way, so you park about 10 steps outside the building, come through the outer door, right in through this way, and you'll be greeted by our front desk. And that will probably alone sell you on our practice. But when your time comes, you'll be greeted by one of my nurses, our medical assistants, and come into the back side of the office. Very simple. Down this side are 2 consultation rooms.
Welcome to one of our consultation rooms. And here the goal is when we meet a new patient, we just want them to feel comfortable. This is all about you being in a comfortable, safe environment. I'll be in here with one of our nurses, and we're just going to discuss and talk about what your concerns are and what are the different ways that we can reach those goals. What's fun about plastic surgery is there are usually so many different ways to get to that same goal, but there's so many opportunities and different ways that we can do that. And that's what we do here at Reveal Beauty, and we're excited to be a part of that with you.
After you've had your consultation, which usually also includes a set of photographs that we'll take in that same room, so you really don't have to walk through the office with a robe. It's all done within that one spot. So after that's complete, it's time to talk with one of my clinical coordinators. We would come here and probably sit in this sub-waiting area and wait for her to be available for you, which is usually very quick. On some days we use the room that's right across the hall from the clinical coordinator's room for what we call pre-op visits, people who schedule with us. We usually schedule you for a pre-op visit. That's usually about 2 weeks or so before your scheduled procedure. It's a time for us to make sure all the I's have been dotted and all the T's have been crossed. You certainly have questions from the time that we saw you originally to up till that time, but you're welcome to come and ask. If they need me or Dr. Pierce, they'll pull us out of the hall. We can come in and address those with you. But this is for a pre-op visit. So down the same hall, we have another consult room. We have our nurses station. Also an area where we keep some of our medications. On the wall, on this common wall outside the consultation room is our gallery of different pre and post pictures, most all of which you can see on our website, but you can see them up close and personal here. Of course, when you visit with our clinical coordinator, they also have access digitally to all those pictures. This area here is our administrative area. It's where Dr. Pierce and I have our little personal spaces. It's also a room that we use for office meetings and any kind of conferences, any kind of get-together for the entire office.
So in here is one of our exam rooms, and we do several different types of procedures back here. It can be minor procedures such as Botox, fillers, and even taking care of patients after they've had surgery. This is where you'll come to have some dressing changes, drains removed, and things like that. I like how there's enough space. We have a lot of natural light coming in. It's just a big difference, again, from our last office to this office.
These doors mark the entrance to our surgical suites. These are requirements. The door itself, the partition itself, was a requirement by our certifying accreditation entity. When they told us that we had to have a door here, we decided to have a little bit of fun with it. So these are actual doors off of a church in Shelbyville, Tennessee in the late 1800s. And when they demolished the church, they found less than 500 nails in the entire church. So this door is one of the front doors off of that church. So we kind of think that's a pretty cool facet. The door that matches that is at the other end of the hall, which marks the end of the surgical suites. Work and do their documentation and get patients ready for surgery. This area back here, let's see if the light comes on with my presence. This is what we call the prep area. So you would come in here fully clothed the morning of surgery with your caretaker. Caretaker would sit here, but the patient would obviously be here, and we were able to do those last minute consents for surgery, any of the paperwork that we need to do. After that is complete, my nurse would come get me, and I will come in and do any marking that is required that morning. And our nurse anesthetist would then follow me. I'll introduce you to the nurse anesthetist. They are extremely good at what they do. We're very grateful to have them as a group work with us now for over 15 years. A lot to be said for that. So once you're ready for surgery, for most cases, you'll then walk right down this hall to our operating area. Notice the width of the door. Really very nice. In the old office, the doors were regular widths, kind of tight to get that stretcher through the door. But with the new doors, it's very, very nice, and obviously it was purposeful to make them this big. This is where all the magic takes place. This is our operating area. Most of what you see is self-explanatory, but this is the operating table. We have a heating system. This is the pad that the patient would lie on with sheets and other things on top. And then there's something similar to this that would go on the top. It's called a hot dog system. The buns on the top and the bottom, and the patient is the weenie, and that usually gets a little bit of a smile out of the patient when we're talking to them about it. But since we've been using this, it has just revolutionized our ability to keep patients warm during cases. If you compared this space to our old operating area, it's at least 3 or 4 feet in every direction larger here than it was in our old space. That has been a fantastic aspect of working in this new space. When you spend most of your life in here, and I think I have, to have it this large and roomy and bright and clean is really, really important. One very important aspect of seeing the operating room to me is that knowing that the only cases that are done in this space are cases of ours and what we call clean cases. This is not a general hospital operating room where it's just whatever case is next is going to come in the room. I think that control is extremely important for your safety. So we're not doing infections and other kinds of things that may contaminate the space. That's an important aspect of a safe experience for you. So very tightly controlled from what kinds of cases are done here, who's actually scrubbing on those cases, hand-picked staff for that, and we're proud to work with them.
After surgery, when you're in recovery, you're going to be back here with one of our dedicated recovery room nurses. That nurse is going to be with you the entire process through waking up, getting dressed, starting some of your post-operative medications, and then taxiing you to your vehicle through our private rear entrance.
All right, so the back hallway takes you down to the area where a lot of the business is carried out with regard to actually doing surgery. We're required to have an area where we clean our instruments. We call it the dirty area. It's not dirty relatively, but it's relative to a sterile case. It's dirty. But this is where we clean the instruments. We re-sterilize the instruments, and then they're stored here. This is our clean area to where we actually scrub and get ready. We have our shoe covers and hats and masks on the wall. We have a side entrance to the operating room, so I don't have to enter through that large door anymore. We can scrub our hands here, never have to touch the door, and come in this way. You notice that the lighting in the operating room was excellent. That's by design. Lots of fluorescent lights up above. and the way that they're arranged was all by design. But we all wear headlights also. You got to be able to see it to do it. My old professor used to tell me, so these nice, bright headlights are used every day. This leads us into our spa area, our dedicated aesthetic rooms. This is just a typical setup for the spa. Obviously, people who've been to the spa understand, but we actually have two lasers in here. One is a hair removal laser, one is a skin rejuvenation laser, and the lasers are kept in the rooms. We've been doing lasers since the early, just had a real interest in this kind of technology. My undergraduate degree was in biomedical engineering. So, I just kind of like took to this like a duck to water, and we've stayed really cutting edge with our lasers and other energy devices. So now you've seen it, and we're back to the back hallway, and just down on the left would take you back out through the front door. So it's easy to get around, hard to get lost. And if you are lost, you just keep walking till you find somebody that you know. I'm so glad that you decided to join me for this tour this morning. In case you can't tell, I'm pretty pumped about this new place, and very excited about the possibilities of what we can do. They're just things that we could never do in the old place that we now have the potential to do here. It's maximized patient flow, patient satisfaction has been out the roof on this. But I'm very grateful to be able to make the move. It makes all kinds of sense for us from a production standpoint, from a professional development standpoint, from accessibility, everything that you could, from every vantage point, this move was a good thing for us. But come see us, come share it with us. Let us share what we're doing here with you. And if you think that there's something we can do to assist you, let us know. Contact us through revealbeauty.net. That's one word, no space, revealbeauty.net, and make it happen.